What alignment would you give Martin Luther? In this video, I discuss the pros and cons of alignment, approaches to handling some of the challenges, and what do you do about heretics? In Men and Magic, one of the first three books from the original Dungeons and Dragons, it describes alignment: law, neutral, and chaos. No mention of good, no mention of evil. It just describes the three alignments that were defined as part of the original Dungeons and Dragons. Greyhawk, which was primarily written by Gary Gygax, introduces some more monsters, and then it has the first mention of evil. This is the first mention of evil in Dungeons and Dragons. And you can see that in the second paragraph that's there. Evil monsters are as likely to turn on their supposed confederates and so on. So up to this point in time, there was no concept of evil among the creatures. You just had law, neutral, and chaos. Now, this skips again up to the third supplement to Dungeons and Dragons called Eldritch Wizardry. The second supplement, Blackmore, which was primarily written by Arneson, that's who's got the copyright on it, introduces mind flayers. But it doesn't describe anything about alignment of mind flayers. Gygax, who wrote the third supplement, which is called Eldritch Wizardry, this is where he first describes the concept of good and evil, and where we see mind flayers are as highly evil but otherwise lawful. So we get the concept of lawful evil. So then AD&D, or first edition, came out, and it broke down into the 9 alignments. So you had lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil, and so on throughout the first edition, second edition, third edition. Now, fourth edition did something a little odd. They sort of went back to law and chaos with lawful good and chaotic evil, and then unaligned, which sort of made some weird things about the alignments in fourth edition. Fifth edition went back to the 9 alignments. So that gives a little bit of historic perspective about alignment. After a bit of historic perspective on where alignment came from and how it's been introduced and changed through the editions, what do you do about someone like Martin Luther? And you could actually put this type of challenge in your adventure where you've got there's a major schism in one of the religious beliefs inside your world, and players would have to take sides. Because I'm not going to get into the ethics whether people think Martin Luther was a good guy or a bad guy, but he definitely broke with the Catholic Church, and that was part of the Reformation. And following along with that, you have Henry VIII, who split with the Catholic Church and created the Church of England, and there's a whole host of interesting things that go on with regard to that. And you can introduce those types of things into your campaign fairly easily. I mean, you can, the king is split with the highest cleric in the religion, or various things. Those are interesting things to interact into your campaign. So what does it mean for alignment? Well, my view is real simple. I don't care about alignment. I ignore it. It doesn't matter. In essence, the game and the scenario and how you want the quests to go is the real important thing, not this rule about alignment, which is what the fifth edition emphasizes. It's the play of the game, not the rules. So ignore alignment. It gives you nothing. I think that alignment is actually just sort of a distraction. It sort of helps. The only thing it's there is it's sort of a tendency. Do creatures, or player characters or non-player characters, do they follow the law and chaos, or do they have a tendency toward evil or toward good? That's fine, but it really isn't a major impact on the game. You know, it says, are you going to make your orcs, though you have half orcs and orcs as player characters, are they evil or goblins evil? What, as you start getting into other races in the game, how do you play those type of things? How do they fit in your campaign? And I have played with alignment. I did the Key to Druid's Gate, which I did as a sort of a one-shot. We actually took 4 3-hour adventures on Google Hangouts, which were you play good characters because a great druid decided that what was happening in the world was upsetting the balance, and that evil and chaos needed to be reintroduced because law and good were too powerful. And so and I've done that, and it bothered me a bit. I found that even though I created it and I ran it and had some fun, but it wasn't really. It was, to me, somewhat artificial that you had to have all the characters be good, rather than being more interested in the quest. And I highly recommend, I think it's called Manhunting Things by David Drake. I may be wrong on that. I should have looked that up for this. David Drake wrote a couple of interesting stories, basically on the Cthulhu mythos, where you play murdering, nasty characters who are fighting an even worse evil, which would have been the Cthulhu mythos. So they're, at the end of one of them, they manage to defeat it, and they celebrate by raping and pillaging a local village. Yes, that actually happens. They rape and pillage the local village, but they're the, quote, good guys in the story. So you can do that in your campaigns and your adventures if you sort of throw alignment away. You use it sort of as a guideline to help you understand the motivations of certain monsters and certain non-player characters. But it isn't a guiding, isn't an overarching rule, and it's much better to just have it as a guideline that helps you with that. So that means you have heretics. You can have a heretic, and one group can argue that they should burn him at the stake, and the other group should argue that no, he's a very loyal and powerful character. So make sure your game is interesting. Don't get wrapped up in the details of an individual set of rules. If you like my video, press the thumbs up button. I'd appreciate that. Or if this interests you, you can always subscribe to my channel. There's a button right above. I look forward to hearing some comments. Tell me what you think about this, and I'll try and reply, and we can see if I'll do some more of these. Thank you.